Could you call it that? Those are not just classical
Maybe.
liberals.
No,
I was talking
liberals. No.
I mean, I would call it extreme left. Like, the liberal women I know don't happen to be, like, pro-clutchy in that manner in real life.
I'm liberal.
Well, I know you are, but I also know you in real life, and you're not pro-clutchy.
So, Jane, would you
Right,
consider yourself woke?
The pro-clutchiness seems to be an artifact of the internet.
Jane,
so if I may speak for a moment,
Are you white, Dr. Jordan? Are you? Name yourself and your little.
I think of myself as white, and so think of. Okay, let me back up here. When you think of the nonprofit world versus the corporate space, you have narcissistic folks at the top often enough. Not always, but often enough, right? These personality traits, psychopathologies transcend all political party lines, right? So the notion that some white liberal, the white liberals, there's plenty of white liberals who are overconfident, undershamed, love themselves, think they're the greatest thing in the world. They're narcissistic, whatever you want to call them, hyper-confident. They don't fall under this category of white liberal ashamed. They are just like everybody else who has, any kind of personality adaptation. We're much more varied than you're considering this notion of the label liberal. So, I mean, I'll put that out there.
Yeah, it's the same way in which conservative gets narrowed, right? Like, the political parties in their meetings in real life have a plethora of views that don't fit neatly into the TV, internet categorized definitions that we use. Like, real life is not like Clubhouse. Real life, people, when you knock on their door, maybe a little irritated because you knock on their door, but at the same time, they're very willing to tell you, hey, I think my main struggle here is economics. Or, hey, my main struggle here is, I need to go to school and I can't find funding for it. Right? Most people are honest, and they're not angry or militant, or, they're not angry or militant, and they're not quick to see the most narrow version. Don't get me wrong, one in 10 are, I think.
And Marshall, sorry, I keep interrupting you. Go ahead.
No. I'm just going to say most people in real life aren't that narrow. They hold varying views about things. Some conservative, some liberal.
Exactly.
Right?
I mean,
if you're not an extreme partisan, then you don't necessarily experience it. The internet, in particular Clubhouse, is full of what I would call extreme partisans, myself included.
That I agree with, Marshall.
And this notion of dichotomous, if you are an all or nothing thinker, black or white thinking, yes or no thinking, and it's not a bad thing. I was certainly a dichotomous thinker until I got help with it, to be honest, because seeing the dialectic is a lot healthier than looking, being on an extreme. And so with that, I wanted to just offer that even in my own family, most people were, I don't want to say all were liberal, but many. And now there's people split. In many Jewish families, you'll see people split. They may have harbored liberal views years ago. And I'm not endorsing one way, one or the other. But I mean, the dialect, there's a lot of people on the spectrum. But one of the things that, to Marshall's point, that makes this app, that the reason this app is still alive is because of dichotomous thinking, rooms that, cater to high controversy. And so we do get a bit of a sampling bias with regard to Clubhouse.
We should say that again for the people in the back. Clubhouse is fun, and we're all friends or friends-ish. Clubhouse is not real. Real life is way more fucking complicated.
Can we mod Anson?
Exactly, Marshall. It's like we go to these rooms, we're friends with so and so. I mean, to your point about life being far, you can't put pigeonhole into this or left or right. I mean, I guess I'm living proof that fact that I'm in this room, this house or this room often because I'm okay. I can veer away from my lefty pals who sometimes also say some concerning stuff. Not even echo chamber stuff, but kind of a bit narrow-minded. So you go into the real world, which, by the way, I wonder honestly how many folks here, it has nothing to do with politics. When you say, maybe during the pandemic, whatever it was, when you're like, hey, I found this app called Clubhouse, and before you even get the sentence out, are your friends like, huh? Are they like, never heard of it? Are they like, sorry, what? What's that? Right?
Yeah,
I think I found one person that have heard of it. One. It's wild.
Me too, one, and we're actually friends now in real life. It's really one of the few that I've met in real life. It's so rare.
So Serendipity talked to me privately and reminded me that if Moose wants to go around the app calling people race-based bigots, then you'll have to justify being modded up with one of the most disgusting creatures.
There you
in the
go.
world.
Exactly. Free speech. Freedom of speech.
We're happy to see him there. We're happy to see
There
him.
you go. And if any of my lefty pals want to judge me for being mobbed with whomever, well,
just
they can go play with dynamite sticks on roller skates.
There are few evils in the world than being a white female conservative. It's just diabolical. Anson, I'm happy to see you, sir. I hope you'll consider resuming your room.
Yes, for sure. I did have Roger change the settings on your house so that it would be open to the public moving forward. I think that may have been one of your issues with gaining some momentum, was that the house was locked down, and so only house members saw it and people that they pinged. But I was told to ask Dr. J a question, but it's not really the topic of the room, so I don't know if y'all want to change the topic or not.
Well, maybe he can look in the chat. I invited Pete up to ask him the question directly. I kind of don't like people who send messengers. I'd rather people.
No, I wasn't told from Pete. I was actually told from somebody else a few days ago.
Oh, it's a different question?
It's a different question, yeah.
Gosh, Dr. J's popular. Multiple questions for you, Dr.
Well, I'll answer the question of the room before I go for my monthly poker game here. Wish me luck.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Can men and women be friends? I mean, it's the eternal when Harry met Sally, right? Question. And I think it's something that comes to maturity. I'm the youngest of three boys. So I didn't grow up with sisters, so I'm lucky to have two friends. Or actually now, what am I? Probably just really one friend that I consider a sister to me. Never crossed the line. There's always been platonic. And in fact, they actually given each other advice on relationships and stuff like that. So I think it's a maturity thing. I think it's challenging when you're younger. It's like this caveman procreation thing is kind of our DNA. But as we mature, we realize that not only can we be friends, but I think we can benefit greatly from advice from the opposite sex.
Good luck on your poker game, Moose.
Thank you. I'm going to fight the urge to chase the river. If anyone plays poker in here, you know what that means.
If I may, I'd like to comment on something Marshall just said. I've been sort of just coasting around trying to find a good conversation on a Saturday afternoon. He said Clubhouse is not real life. I'm not so sure about that. Life can get vicious. I mean, at least this is an audio only, so we can only, with emojis, we can express strong opinions and that kind of stuff, but we're at least not going to get physical with each other and those kinds of things. But I think the divide on Clubhouse that is so evident, and I want to exclude the really. I mean, there's some rooms that are just so focused on a particular thing, and they very strongly focus on that particular thing. I mean, we can. I don't want to give examples, but there are some rooms that at least the topics are open for honest debate. But it's hard to find those kind of rooms because the debate becomes too one-sided. And trying to find a way to have an honest conversation, even though you have strongly differing opinions, that's what I'm trying to find on Clubhouse, and you know, it's hard to do, and people, I don't know, I guess I'm frustrated. You know, somebody says that you want me to reopen the room. Well, it's Roger's room. That's why because I'm not a geek. I don't know the mechanics of opening, closing, posting polls, all that. I'm slowly learning. But I'd rather be in a support role rather than in charge of the room kind of thing. And trying to find even a small group of people that are willing, that have differing views. I mean, Moose, for example, I've seen Moose, just superficially in some rooms. But I know he's on the left, but I mean, Moose and I have been getting along real well, and we can have differing opinions. There are sometimes, one that really astounded me wasn't in the rational discussion room, but it was in a recent room where somebody who I generally respect put in the what the hell was the chat? Yeah, he said basically Anson is full-blown MAGA in my opinion, and that just shocked me, because to me MAGA means irrational, unthinking, total support for any and all things that Donald Trump espouses, unless it's hiding the Epstein list, and then they're going to get pissed off at him. But I'm no more MAGA than a fly to the moon. But I'm not going to leave Clubhouse because of that accusation. But I don't know why we get into this name-calling tit for tat rather than having a rational discussion. First of all, as I've tried to do in the room the few times we've had it, what is the problem? So we can at least agree that there is a problem, whether it's crime and homelessness and graffiti in D.C. or whatever. Can we agree on the problem and then try to figure out what the right solutions are? And that's really, really hard to do. And on Clubhouse, and I guess it's hard to do in the real world. So take it for I'm bloviating too much, so I'll leave it at that and see if there's room for discussion there.
Well,
Captain,
the only thing, Marshall, the only thing I'd want to add is that, like, I think what you said was the most impactful in the beginning, and it's that, like, it's hard to find two varying points, whether they're completely opposed to one another or not, that are good moderators. And if you identify, because I think that you're probably a really great moderator, but I get it. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I would love to be in nothing more than just a supportive role. And in 4 years, it's taken about 4 years for it to be known. Not a good moderator. But if you want somebody on stage that's not going to make it an echo chamber, that will like help being a supporting role to the opposite side, then she's your girl. Like that's the type of like I get it. That is what makes Clubhouse so difficult, and that's why many rooms that have such a great promise. Like this one that is, and I don't want to like jinx it because I want it to stay this way, but like this, that if you don't have those awesome like non-biased, really like mod abusing type mods, like MG, she's a great example of somebody that like is very open-minded and will not be like she's a good moderator. Mojo. Or Roger, or whoever you call him, awesome moderator. Steve Appel, awesome moderator. These are people that,
I heard you feeling a little blue. You're gonna make yourself a little soup.
If not, it turns into garbage real quick.
Marshall, were you going to say something?
I was going to say, Captain, if you need help with the room, I'll happily pitch in.
Of course you will, Marshall.
Thanks. I'll accept that. Right now, there's not a whole hell of a lot going on now that the dust has settled from the attempts at peace in Ukraine. There's not a whole lot of things. I mean, I'd love to have a room on who's causing the chaos or something like that.
We could talk about the reduction in auto thefts in D.C. with the advent of the National Guard. I heard 55% reduction in the 9 or 10 days or so that they've been there.
Oh yeah, Scarlett, but you know as well as I do that as soon as the feds are, first of all, I think the federal control, if you will, can only last for 30 days without a vote without approval from Congress.
Correct.
And I think there's not a snowball chance in hell of getting. Well, probably, I don't know. Congress probably won't even vote because they'll be arguing about holding a vote. Again, one of my big complaints about the Great Divide is Congress, as Marshall and I don't agree on it, that Congress has essentially abdicated its role as a third branch of government. They're so unable to legislate to govern. That's one of the great. Again, I'm getting off topic, but thanks for your offer, Marshall. But I'm not attempting to. Roger and I talked about when to have the room and should we have it at the same time as a political thinking forum. And our initial thought was, if we were going to start for the first week and sort of take the same topic and see if there was a different consensus from what we did. I'll never be able to compete with the reputation and magnitude of sizes. We're not even trying to. But I'm trying to find a way to have quite frankly, a more rational discussion of the issues rather than what I consider to decline into partisanship that I don't like at all. So.
I'll go after Marshall. Go ahead, Marshall.
No, I was going to say, I agree with you, Captain. I think maybe an interesting discussion might be making U.S. naval tactics interesting. Finding a way to get across U.S. naval tactics and strategies where I'm looking for while telling it in a story format for like 5 minutes so it doesn't bore people too much.
How can the United States Navy regain a significant contribution to deterrence?
Yes, sir.
Well, how about
I would love that.
you can all
I might be the only ones there, but
you can make you can tie that into the ships being sent to the waters off Venezuela when the Marines are on board. Have a discussion about that.
If you want someone like Brad to be a mod with you,
That would be an asset to the room. I don't know if the moderator badge
not bad.
and rational discussions.
When it comes
Because
to
Brad's a very forceful natured kind of guy, and my concern would be that
I mean,
Anyway.
and I piss him off, but
Brad was in the Navy 30 years ago. What the fuck would he know about the situation right now? Like, I think it's an irrelevant.
well, I'm sure he
who
has.
said that? Who
I'm
said
sure he'd add value to the room.
Who said that?
The great Mother Superior.
Mother Superior. Oh, okay. Well, I was in the
as
Navy.
a personal
The last time I was in the Navy was 1988, so do the math, 35 or plus years. But I still think I have a hell of a lot to contribute in terms of what the Navy can do.
Oh, like, I'm not trying to be an asshole, but my opinion also applies to you. Like, I think perspective is limited relative to what most people there is out there outside of public information. Most have direct contact. In the military at the moment, your information is outdated.
okay, so what information do you wait, what information then could you offer with your experience of the United States Navy in regards to this current event that would be, I would say, better as a moderator or a support person in a room holding this kind of discussion, moreover than the gentleman that was just speaking or the person in the listening lounge, both of which I would think would have a much better understanding of it.
This is a stupid question, right? Like, you literally just said most of us are relying on publicly available information. And so you reframe that question to do a gotcha. Like, most of us in this room, including Brad and Anthony, are likely going to be looking up information online, using that information and incorporating into their conversation point at the moment. We're doing the exact same shit. This whole, what is it, the argument about appeal to authority argument?
How much of Gaza?
No, it's not stupid. It's those with experience and those that have I would say authority to speak on a matter. Now, I could talk to somebody that's like a brain surgeon or somebody that's in med school, and I could say this: the person that's in med school going to be a doctor will have like the up and coming new prescriptions and ways for procedure and process, as opposed to the one that's retired. But by God, I really want to value and put some stock in the one that's done a lot of brain surgeries rather than the one that has literally just started college and has no has no intent in even going to school at all. That just gives their Googled Grok or Perplexity or Chat GPT opinion of it. Sorry, but that's just the facts.
Yeah, I think everyone's triggered because we're talking about military veterans, but I seriously, my opinion does not change. If you're that far removed, unless you have direct access to military intelligence to date or are currently related with the government and know the inner work, you have nothing else of additional value than everyone else on the stage. You're not that much better. We're not going to agree on this, Kitty. You can be mad all you want, but my position does not.
It's nothing personal. I mean, I appreciate you giving in good faith answer. I don't agree.
I would only ask Mother if, do you believe that Alfred Thayer Mahan is now out of date, completely irrelevant, and no one should ever read him again? Do you even know who Alfred Thayer Mahan is?
I have no idea what the fuck that is, nor do I.
The Influence of Sea Power on History, written with the British Empire and the Royal Navy as an example. And as far as I know, it is still the basics, one of the most basic texts still used at the United States Naval Academy today on a year-long history course of the influence of sea power on history.
I think that's awesome. Honestly, I do. My dad went to Great Lakes and just served in Vietnam, but I have respect.
It's not. I'm not asking for respect from me. I'm just suggesting to Mother that to have a legitimate discussion on basic geopolitical, geostrategic issues is not dependent on having the most current intelligence information. That's a tactic. That's not the strategic view. That's not the view from 10,000 or 50,000 feet. And that's one of the things we're lacking. One of the reasons, and I'm not trying to attack you, Mother. I'm just trying to make a point and look at my profile. Is how can we use the lessons of the past to basically stop repeating them? And I think that is of tremendous value, because part of the discussion on Clubhouse is what was the recent headline that pissed you off, rather than trying to get into the underlying problem of what caused that headline to be written in the first place.
And I want Mother to get to respond, but I do want to get your opinion, and because I heard it recently on the news, as far as like after World War II or right before World War II, there's that island that we like made it to where we could shoot off nuclear warheads or whatever, and then apparently right now we're going back to that same location. If you could tell me more about that, like whenever that, if there's a lull in the conversation.
Yeah, I mean,
I have no idea what
originates from, right? Like, some of the dumbest people that I've ever met in my life are people who went to the military and the Navy and et cetera because they couldn't get into universities and colleges, right? Some of the stupidest people I've ever met in my entire life. This notion that every veteran knows what they're talking about and every Navy person is the most intelligent person out there on the specific topic. Like, some of these people just went because they couldn't find any other way to make an income or to move forward with their life, right? Like, that's a very unpopular position. Hold on a minute, right? That's a very unpopular position, but it's the truth. Some of these people don't know what the fuck they're talking about, and this whole notion that we have to treat them all as some authority figure, because the conversation started with Brad would be a good moderator because he's formerly from the military. The logic in that statement is what I find to be flawed. It's not an attack on Ansett. It's not an attack on Brad. The logic as a foundation is what I don't agree with.
They give some of the best scholarships and allow for some, and I'm just saying generic, like for not just them, but their children to attend some of the best schools in our country. You're a moron, and I completely disagree.
You can get Not everyone is going to West Point, right? So you're going, some of these people are dumb as fuck and are not going in.
Right.
Yeah.
Some of them are finished high school, but then ended up going straight into the military and afterwards getting his degree. So, like,
A point of order.
That too is a complete moot point.
Oh, that's what
Hello, everyone. Hello. So, the military won't accept people with low IQ, as Nicholas just posed, because no,
You need to have a
they
diploma.
IQ. They have IQ requirements because they found people with IQs of, I think it's 90 or lower or worse than not having them at all. They have a negative impact on their crew, their fellow soldiers, their military escapades, all of that. So, dumb as shit or dumb as F or whatever you said is measurably untrue, Nicholas. And we don't have to fight this hard about. No.
Yeah.
Everyone's entitled to their perspective.
Were you not able to get into the military?
Yeah, because I didn't waste my time. Because
I just want to say that, I just want to say you cannot be low and
It is not
we got it, love, we got it. But But in order to join the military, the Army, the Navy, combat, intelligence, you need to have a diploma, and you do need to take testing to know if you are even qualified to handle these certain situations. So there is a form of intelligence, Mother, when it comes to joining the military, Army, Navy, or whatever. Even if you're a desk person, you're not just a dumbass. You mean who didn't graduate school, who's poor with no job dreams, to join the military.
Yeah.
They don't just allow people who are dumb to join.
Right, and he said majority.
I mean, y'all know what I'm saying is not that fault. It's not. It's true. You can get all mad because Americans love the military, but it's the reality.
Okay,
Some of the lowest performers, dumbest people from my high school were the first ones to join the military because they couldn't get into universities.
I know.
Yeah, that was the case for significant portions of the people that joined the military that I know, and that's fine. Like, they found a way to make their life, but like, let's not pretend like these are the cream of the crop on the planet that join the.
So again,
Definitely below 70 is an IQ. So again, I'm just going to ask the question: were you not able to join the military, and that's why you got?
I have a 4.0 GPA and got a full ride to university. I didn't need to join the military because I had options.
Stop.
So if I may say something,
Stop.
who's telling me to stop?
I'm telling you to stop, please.
Yeah, but why are you telling me to stop?
Stop for a second.
Okay.
Who is that telling him to stop? I'm confused. Is that a mod telling him to stop?
It's Kristen. You guys are going back and forth about the same thing and just repeating, and getting more and more heated. And so Anson was trying to make a point and was talked over, and he's now gone from the room. So he lost what he was going to say. And okay, he's back. So if you guys can watch, if you guys couldn't just, share your opinions, share your feelings and things like that, but please do have some respect for each other. And if you said what you needed to say, okay, great. And please don't repeat. Thanks.
Marshall just asked me to go private, and we did for just a minute. But I do want, and I'm not going to try to get. I'm not mad, Mother. I can take your shots, but I do want to give you just a little bit of perspective. I was born and raised in a town of 2,000 people. I was born in 1942, so my growing up years were the 40s and 50s in a small tobacco farming community. I had 52 people from my graduating class from high school. Fortunately, I was, and the reason I applied to the Naval Academy, needed my parents, I was going to college. And there was no way they could afford a college education. So I applied, and by good luck or whatever, I was able to get in. I can assure you, Mother, that and I have said this repeatedly, that those 4 years were the 4 most miserable years of my life. And I got a $50,000, which today is about $300,000. But I had a $50,000 education shoved up my ass in those whole 4 years. I hated it. I still don't know how I got through it, but I got through it, and it was the best thing that ever happened to me because it took me away from that small town and gave me a much broader perspective and the tools to be able to do some things in the world. In 2015, during the campaign, I watched with interest how Donald Trump coming down the stairs and how his attitude, the way he acted during the primary debates and all that. And I thought he was the biggest jerk I'd ever seen, and I still feel that way. But when he said, somebody asked him his views on the triad, the nuclear triad, and his response was, "What is the triad?" That's when I decided I would never vote for Donald Trump, and I never have. But I can still support Donald Trump. because of some of the policies and the attempts that he is trying to do. So I try to cut through the bullshit and get down to the substance. And yes, I use historical perspective and my own professional experience, 23 years on nuclear submarines during the Cold War. And I still use that perspective to form my opinions on the right path forward. And that's what I'm trying to do on Clubhouse. And your views are yours. I disagree with them. But I'm not a stupid jerk.
Thank you.
Whatever, we can move on. Because we're wasting my time.
Yeah,
What I wanted
Doctor, I'm sorry, the driver. If you would like to go and
Yes.
speak.
So I think that there are like 1.8 or 1.2 million enlisted people in the armed forces. Many of them, unlike officers, they don't join typically with college degrees, right? So there's such a varied range of intelligence in the armed forces. But I think from a socioeconomic standpoint, you'll find that people that go to independent schools typically have the resources to be able to pay for college on their own. So they're not necessarily seeking scholarships, etc. So I think that two things can be true. I think that in recent years, enlisted folks have not necessarily been the cream of the crop, but the officers certainly are, and some of the enlisted folks are really bright. No one's perhaps really dumb, but I think that from both perspectives, and most importantly, things have changed. Both of my grandfathers and my uncle served in the armed forces, and that was a different time during World War II and even Vietnam. So I think that looking at it over time is certainly an important factor in how discerning we are with regard to the recruit.
I mean, one thing to remember about the enlisted force, it is very job dependent. And like Anson's former occupation in the nuclear force, enlisted people that work that and very highly skilled. There's enlisted people that do a lot of specialty jobs that are extremely intelligent, but you also need truck drivers. You also need a wide range of things. Regardless, the military is still a good option for a lot of people. You don't have to be a brain surgeon to join the military. That's 100% true. But there are jobs out there, even on the enlisted side, also where it will expand your mind and expand your graffiti kind of intellectual.
Brent, there's no better example on Clubhouse than my relationship with Brad.
Awesome.
I disagree with Brad a lot. I mean, he tees off far more than I would hope that he does. But Brad and I have, the reason I joined the submarine force is because there was very little distinction between officers and crew. It was the merit, it was your own capability. If you wore the dolphins, you had earned it. And the enlisted guys and the officers had to do the same thing to learn to wear the dolphins. And there was very little distinction within the submarine force between the two.
You're going for a space, all right?
Merit.
Logan, can you hit him in the face?
And I certainly agree with you that there was extraordinary contributions. The submarine force was a band of brothers, and very little distinction of rank. When we were at sea, we all wore poopy suits. You know why they called them? I don't even go tell you why they called them poopy suits. But because it was a one-piece suit built when our submarines first went to sea. It went free, had no buttons, no snaps. It was all Velcro. But when you sat down on the toilet, And on a submarine, when you stand back up to flush, you have to operate 3 valves at full level. And your suit, the top part of your suit may very well fall into the toilet. And that's why they were called poopy suits. I think they're still called poopy suits today. How's that for a sea story?
That's a good sea story. But in fairness to Mother, I don't know if you might have left. There absolutely are idiots, like absolute idiots in the military too. It is a subsection of American society, and frankly, there are jobs where being an idiot is fine, and you serve your country, and you do good for America, and that's okay also.
You want to get into current politics, you ought to read about the change of command that just took place at the Naval Academy, where the superintendent, they changed command between the 2 superintendents. And I won't give you the details on that one, but oh my God. And I watched the whole ceremony. And boy, do I agree with you, Brent. There's some really stupid people in the military, always have been. But there are today just as much as they were. And trying to figure out how to sort the wheat from the chaff is still a challenge, as with any organization that has 200 million or 1.5 million people in it.
So, okay, when I say this, everyone goes on a titty tantrum, loses their mind, and starts to freak the fuck out. Closely repeat what I say. I was losing their fucking mind.
What we do, you guys can do.
Like,
So,
everyone
we got
fucking knows
extra
this,
strength.
right? It's not something that is a secret. Everyone knows that the lowest tier in society goes to the military.
And some of the highest tiers do too. And the
I was
difference
defending
between you
your
and
honor,
Anson
Mother.
is Anson actually served, and he has the right to do that. But really quick, Anson, when I was going to ask you, I think it's the Tinian Island. I could be completely wrong, but I believe that's what they're trying to like revamp or remodel to protect it from China.
Christ,
Yeah.
that's where we did nuclear. I think Tinian was the first hydrogen bomb explosion back in the late 1940s. But no, we're not retaking islands in the Pacific in order to advance nuclear weapons testing or launch pads for nuclear weapons. We have plenty of launch pads. They're called Trident submarines. So no, America is not trying. In fact, we're trying to stop China from building their own goddamn islands out there.
Yeah.
That's what we're